Hi again. So in our previous videos we have looked at why I purchased a Jimny, and we've looked at fitting of the DIR off-road roof rack, and there it is sitting in the sunshine. Today what we're going to look at is fitting the rear ladder onto the Jimny. So fantastic instructions provided by DIR Off-Road to do this. I'm looking at them online, so I've got them on my iPad here. I just quite like that because it allows me to zoom in on images and different bits and pieces. First thing we've got to do is pop these two plastic caps off from the inside of the door that cover the bolts on the inside. They're hard plastic caps, so be careful when you take them off. It's very easy to damage the edge of them, and I managed to put a hole in one of them, but that was just me being silly. The easiest way I've found to remove them, just gently prise them off with a screwdriver from the edge, being careful not to damage the paintwork. So we've got those caps off, and I'll try and get an image inside there. Inside there, what we can see is we can see the nut on the back of the bolt, which is holding the door on. Just takes a little bit of pressure to crack the nut, but once it's cracked, it slackens off very easily rather. I'm just being very careful not to lose the nut in the door. Okay, so they're both removed now. They're easy enough to get out of the door. It's just because of the painted finish, where there's been overspray on them from when the car was built, they just stuck to the inside of the socket, so they needed some gentle persuasion with a rubber mallet to get them out. But that's that done. Now we've closed the door and we're going to remove the spare wheel cover. A 20mm socket removes the main nut, which is holding on the plastic cover. And the same 20mm socket also removes the 3 bolts that are holding on the spare wheel on the rear door. And that's the spare wheel removed. It's a 30-second job. The instructions now tell us to remove the bottom right-hand bolt on the spare wheel bracket. This one is a 15mm, so let's take that off, and then after that it tells us to remove the plastic clips that are over the hinges. So that bolt comes out no problem at all. I never like removing plastic covers, especially when you don't know what's behind there. You don't know what action to use, and you're always scared you're going to break something. These plastic clips on the Jimny are held in place by small plastic retaining clips, and I have managed to break one in the process of removing it. I don't know what else I could have done. I was very careful. I used a flat screwdriver with some self-amalgamating tape on it so not to do any damage. Gently prized it from the inside, and it came off okay. It's just we've managed to break one of these little clips. Thankfully the plastic plate isn't actually used, the ladder replaces it, and I don't think it'll be a major problem to get a clip to replace that anyway, but that's how to remove it very carefully. So both plastic covers off now. Second one came off without any kind of incident. Next thing the instructions tell us to do, and this is where things started getting a bit more concerning, is to remove these 2 Allen head screws on each hinge. Now the instructions do say that they are unlikely to come out, and if that's the case, to simply drill off the heads from them. Now I've already tried these 2 screws and they are going nowhere, so I am also going to have to drill the heads off them. So this may seem a bit severe, but all we're really doing is removing this bracket with the clips on that holds the plastic trim on. So should you wish to replace that at some stage in the future, I don't think that would be a major job. What I've done is I've just started to drill the bolts out with a reasonably small size drill, just to make sure when I go in with a larger drill bit to take the top off them, I'm not going to wander and damage anything. So I've just continued to gently drill the heads off these screws using progressively larger drill bits until the heads have been removed. It's a bit nerve-wracking. This is not a job to do in a hurry, but very straightforward. Just take your time, start off with a small drill bit, get bigger, keep your drilling in the middle, and there's nothing to worry about. What we've now got to do is to remove the pressed in bolt in the hole there using a punch and a hammer. Now I have also got, helping me, my lovely wife just holding onto the door, because I'm always a bit nervous when I'm taking bolts out, especially when they may well be securing doors. Now I've already done it on the top one, and you can see it needs a couple of good thwacks, and make sure there's not somebody standing on the other side, because then the bolt does jump out. But it comes out easy enough and leaves, funnily enough, a hole that's exactly the same shape on the other side. So we're going to do that again with the bottom door, where you can see we've still got that pressed in bolt in the bottom. Just so you understand the mechanics here, that's the captive bolt that we've been removing, and you can see it's not captive, but it's spleened at the top to stop it turning around. 2 of those to be removed from the rear door hinges. So we've now shut the door, and in line with the instructions, we're removing the 2 bolts on the lower hinge. Again, they're painted on, but they come away very, very easily. Once you've cracked them, they're hand tight almost straight away. So they come out no problem at all. So removing those 2 bolts and removing the rest of the head on the screws has allowed us to take off that cover plate, which is really only there to secure the plastic trim. We've still got a couple of bits of exposed screw head there, and the next thing we need to do is to grind those down so that we've got a nice smooth surface. I'm also being very careful not to damage, obviously, the existing paintwork around that, although I think most of it will be covered up by the ladder at the end of the day anyway, if not all of it. The sun's now getting quite bright here, but I hope you can see this okay. So what I've done is I actually used a small Dremel with a grinding head on it, and I've just ground away the rest of those screws so it's a flat surface.